Jamie Foxx, acclaimed actor and entertainer, recently addressed the flood of conspiracy theories that emerged during his hospitalization in 2023, particularly those involving Sean Diddy Combs. Speaking candidly in his Netflix comedy special, What Had Happened Was. And in subsequent comments, Foxx debunked the rumors with both sincerity and humor. He revealed that during his severe medical emergency, which was later confirmed to be a stroke caused by a brain bleed, he was shocked by the outlandish stories circulating online. Among the most bizarre was the claim that Diddy had tried to have him killed. Foxx flat out denied this, stating clearly that Puffy didn't try to kill me. He recounted how he had often left Diddy's infamous parties early, suggesting that while the vibes at those events weren't for him, there was absolutely no malicious intent on Diddy's part. The actor used his trademark humor to highlight the absurdity of the situation, joking that if anything, he was just trying to avoid the wild nature of those parties, not a secret assassination plot. In addition to the Diddy theory, Foxx also took aim at the internet rumors claiming he had been cloned, with some saying the new Foxx was white. Foxx laughed off these allegations, telling a story about how he once joked with his psychiatrist after hallucinating a white version of himself walking into the room, an experience that led to an immediate medication adjustment. The speculation was so rampant that he felt the need to explicitly call it out in his special, sarcastically expressing disbelief at how far people were willing to go to create drama and fantasy out of a private health crisis. Foxx emphasized the seriousness of his condition, explaining that he had lost about 20 days of memory and even had moments when he believed he might not survive. He described a surreal near-death experience where he saw a tunnel and, in his words, thought it was hot with no light, making a joke that perhaps he was headed to the wrong afterlife party, again bringing Diddy into the punchline in jest. Despite the laughter, the reality was grim. Foxx had to relearn how to function, and it was through the tireless support of his sister Deidre Dixon and his daughter Annalise that he pulled through. They, he says, were the reason he's alive today. The actor also opened up about how isolating the recovery process was, noting that the press and the public speculated endlessly about his absence, with very little real information available. That vacuum, he believes, is what gave life to so many of the bizarre rumors. But now that he's returned to the public eye, Foxx is taking control of his own narrative. He made it clear that while he appreciates the concern and curiosity from fans, the most respectful thing anyone can do is to stop spreading unverified nonsense. He urged people to find the humor, as he does, but not at the expense of truth or dignity. Foxx's story, while rooted in comedy, is ultimately one of survival, resilience, and the power of family. His ability to laugh at himself and the madness around him only underscores his strength. More than anything, he wants the world to know that he's back. He's healthy, and he's not a clone. Just a man who faced death and lived to tell the story, his way. If, hypothetically, the conspiracy theories surrounding Jamie Foxx's 2023 hospitalization were proven to be true, specifically the claims that Sean Diddy Combs had orchestrated some form of harm, or that Foxx had been subjected to a government-level cloning or replacement operation, the consequences would ripple through numerous sectors of society, media, politics, science, law, and entertainment, producing a cascading effect that would profoundly alter the public's trust in institutions, the careers and lives of those involved, and the very framework of how we interpret celebrity culture and power structures in America. Firstly, the legal ramifications would be immense. If evidence emerged that a high-profile entertainment mogul such as Diddy had orchestrated an attempt on Jamie Foxx's life, law enforcement agencies, including local police, the FBI, and possibly international authorities if cross-border activities were involved, would initiate a criminal investigation into not just the alleged incident, but the broader network of enablers, conspirators, and systems that allowed such an act to occur. The entertainment industry would face a reckoning as journalists, investigators, and the public demanded to know how such actions were hidden or permitted within a sector that touts transparency and creativity. Charges of attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, obstruction of justice, and possibly RICO, Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, Violations could be filed depending on the scope and scale of the operation. Diddy's empire, including his music label, business ventures, and branding partnerships, would likely collapse under the weight of legal scrutiny, public outrage, and mass divestment, with sponsors, partners, and even longtime collaborators distancing themselves immediately. The case would dominate the news cycle for months, if not years, and become one of the most consequential celebrity crime stories in American history, rivaling or surpassing those of O.J. Simpson, Harvey Weinstein, and Jeffrey Epstein in terms of scale and cultural impact. Public reaction would be fierce and polarized. Some might defend Diddy, suggesting a frame-up or political manipulation, especially in our era of deep distrust and rampant misinformation. Others would demand accountability, not only from Diddy, but from the culture of unchecked power, wealth, and privilege that allowed a celebrity to potentially act with such impunity. Protests could erupt, both in support of Fox and against systemic corruption in Hollywood. Furthermore, if the cloning theory were validated, an extraordinary claim suggesting that Jamie Foxx had either been replaced by a clone or manipulated biologically in some capacity, it would signal one of the greatest scientific and ethical scandals in modern history. The scientific community would face a credibility crisis. Either a secret cloning program existed outside the purview of public knowledge and scientific regulation, or medical and governmental institutions had knowingly concealed the use of bioengineering on human beings without consent. The implications would be staggering. Legally, any such operation would violate multiple international laws concerning human rights, bioethics, and medical experimentation. The United Nations, World Health Organization, and International Criminal Court might be compelled to launch investigations into the existence and scope of illegal genetic manipulation, while the U.S. Congress would likely hold emergency hearings to uncover what government or corporate entities had sanctioned such practices. Civil liberties groups, already sensitive to surveillance and bodily autonomy issues, would push for sweeping reforms to safeguard against involuntary medical experimentation, and whistleblowers from within the scientific or defense communities might come forward, revealing more hidden programs. Public trust in medicine, already tenuous after the COVID-19 pandemic and the polarization around vaccines, would deteriorate further as people question the limits of what the state or corporations are capable of. In parallel, religious groups might interpret the event as evidence of eschatological prophecy, fueling new waves of theological debate, fear, and even cult activity. Cultural theorists and philosophers would weigh in, pointing to how our conception of identity, soul, and humanity itself would need to be reevaluated in a world where a person could be cloned and impersonated. The philosophical implications of cloning a celebrity, someone whose likeness, voice, and identity are already public commodities, would be profound. It would raise questions such as, if a clone can perform, act, and speak like Jamie Foxx, who owns that personhood? What is the essence of self? Could corporations begin patenting aspects of a human being, especially if such cloning technology was in the hands of powerful entities rather than open scientific institutions? Economical.